the color whisperer, who is just a magician and a delight with color, and I'm glad to have her here. And thank you for stepping in to Jeanette. She stepped in at the last moment for us, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I used to mourn, and now I help people move into acceptance. And don't worry, it's not going to be a tearjerker. So the one earlier had me crying, like, oh. Anyway, when we experience loss, we often pull inside ourselves, creating a cocoon. There's a lot of reasons for that. The world doesn't feel safe anymore. We've heard a lot of those stories today. And so you need to retreat, to regroup, but you also need to recreate yourself. It's a metamorphosis. Whatever you lost, whoever you lost, it's no longer there. You've got to become a better person, a bigger person to fill that void, to not miss that anymore. You need to become a more beautiful you, a stronger you, a new you, a butterfly. So when I was a year old, my father died from cancer. At the time, the doctor said that was the worst time for him to die. My brain was developed enough that I kind of knew what was going on, but not enough to process what had happened. All I knew really was this man who had been there for all my life at that point was gone. And there was a lot of strife involved. My mom was pregnant with the second kid, and she kind of had a lot going on her plate too. So I built this cocoon around me. It's instinctual, you just retreat. And I grew up with this cocoon. It was just who I was. I didn't have any memory of life without the cocoon, so I didn't know how to get through it. I would look at my friends and I'd be envious of them. They have something I don't. I didn't know what it was. It was freedom. They weren't trapped in this cocoon. I had made the cocoon, but I didn't know I had made it. I didn't know how to get out. In my early 20s, a couple of things happened to break my cocoon. I found interior design, first of all. I love what I do. I fell in love with it because it's psychology, sociology, history, and furniture. What more could a girl want? And through that, I also found out about the power of color. Color affects us in so many ways. It affects how much we eat, how we sleep, how we feel, what we think. And I used color not just in how to create designs, but how to have people see me. I used color to affect how I felt in my own skin, to find the beauty in me. Not just the outer beauty, like she said, but the inner beauty. I found that power within myself through color. At the same time, I was very fortunate, and I found a healer who was able to I had asthma at the time. I should back up. I had asthma at the time, and I couldn't breathe, and I couldn't cry. Anybody have asthma? You can't cry. It's a really horrible thing. So when you get all stressed, you don't have that release, because then you can't breathe. So you shut it down. This person was able to allow me to grieve for my father for the first time. Spent 20 odd years of my life with this cocoon around me, and I didn't know how to grieve. I knew it was there. I knew I'd run into things and say, oh, this is because of my father, this is fear, this is stupid fear. I'd kick myself in the butt and I'd move forward and do it anyway. But it didn't stop it from hurting. It didn't stop that wall from being there. So I was finally able to cry. Now, after having asthma for several years, being able to cry was a joy in and of itself. But being able to cry for him was sobbing. It wasn't crying. It was 2 hours of sobbing. And I got a towel. Forget the Kleenex. No room for Kleenex. And I went to my closet and had a bunch of different colors of towels. And I said, I need the green one. I gotta have green. And I went into the room in my house that had the most green in it, and I just couldn't get enough green around me that day. And I sobbed and I cried, and for the first time in 25 years, I felt the relief. And about a week or so later, I was thinking about what I did. Green is a healing color. It's an emotionally healing color. And green helps you deal with change. And I had instinctively gone for the color that would help me the most. And once I made that realization, I said, oh, forget what they're teaching me in design. I got a whole new world. This is fantastic. I'd seen how much space planning had changed things. I'd seen how much changing a design and a home could help somebody. But when I saw this, I said, oh no, there's a whole new level of healing. There's a whole new dimension. They're not even touching on it at school. And that was my mission. That's when my mission was born. And I started looking at homes when I would go into my client's home with this idea. I started doing all kinds of research on color and how it affected people. And I just want to share a couple really poignant clients with you, because it was really, the more I put this into action, the more I saw how powerful it was. So I had one family, we were doing a mini makeover where I just go in and 2 hours we make the most of what they had. So there was a family, mom, dad, girl, son, and we went to the master bedroom. There's mom and dad's bedroom, mom and dad's bed, and there was a twin bed there too. And I said, what's up with this? Well, my 9-year-old, she has a lot of nightmares with 9/11, and she can't sleep in her bedroom. And I said, well, it's 5 years after 9/11. She should kind of be over. You know? Did she know anybody in it? No, she just can't sleep in her bedroom. I said, well, let's go check out the bedroom. So we did, and Mom had created this wonderful little fantasy room for her little girl. There's carousels, and there's these wide stripes all over the walls, and borders, and she really had done everything that a mom could do. And she starts telling me about her daughter. Her daughter had dyslexia. And so immediately my mind got triggered, and I said, well, these wide stripes are about yay big. And with dyslexia, they don't see a straight line. It's this. So no wonder she never got over 9/11. It never ended for her. So on top of that, I told her, I said, well, yellow is a color that helps you to learn. So if you've got kids struggling with learning something, or you're learning something, yellow pads, folks. There's a reason for it. And she said, you know, there's a lot of yellow in the living room and we can't get her out of there. 1 can of paint, folks, $30, okay? That changed this entire family's life. Mom and Dad got their bed back. The kid got her bedroom back. And how many drugs would this little girl have been on? There's no doctor that would have said, do you have stripes in her room? You know? And another client I had, very poignant, within about 3 years' time, she lost her mother, her father, and her sister. And she was caretaker for them for a good chunk of that time. She inherited the family home. And she was at first, she was sleeping in her child bed, in her childhood room, because she couldn't live in Mom and Dad's room. That was Mom and Dad's room. And the only way she could make this house her own, she wanted to live there. She wanted that connection to the past, but she couldn't move into her future the way it was. And the only way she could do it was to renovate the house. She had to make it hers so that she was queen of her castle, not Mom and Dad. It wasn't their castle anymore. It was her castle, and she had to make it hers. So it was really the last acceptance of grief. This was her moving on with her world. And we completely changed her world. And we got finished, and she just keeps telling me, to this day, I get cards, I'm just so happy in my home. That's what it's all about. Our homes are an extension of us. They're a reflection of who we are. You know, you hear people say, I just can't go to bed unless the dishes are done. Well, if you're living in a house that doesn't give you energy, and that's what I'm all about, is creating a house that reflects your energy, gives you energy, and reflects your personality. I help take you out of that cocoon, and I bring you into your butterfly. We all have trials. We all have cocoons. We are all constantly adding colors to our butterflies. And that's what this is all about. So color helped me get out of my cocoon. What's going to help you get out of yours?
wonderful. Let me get this out of here. We had a wonderful another round of speakers. Let's give some stuff away, shall we? What do we got? Who's got some raffle prizes? Anybody? Okay, we got the book. Will you? Thank you. And if you want to tweet the event, Facebook, even if you've done it already, do it again. You get another raffle ticket. So we got this that we're giving away. What else are we giving away? Nicola, you got anything to give away?
What are you giving away?
I